Alright, Deep Red time. Now, Deep Red is a movie that I've not seen, and Dario Argento is one of those directors that I have not seen except for one movie. I've only seen Suspiria. And I feel like this is the time to watch the rest of his movies because Suspiria was really fucking fantastic. And then on Vudu, they've had all these free movies with ads, and recently this month they put Deep Red, Inferno, I think The Burb of the Crystal Plummet, I think, an opera. So I'm excited to see what movies that are on Vudu that are free to watch for now. But after watching Deep Red, I'm definitely gonna own this because this movie was. I don't think I love it as much as Suspiria. Well, no, actually, I take that back. I love it for different ways. I feel like Suspiria, I love the build-up more, but Deep Red, I love the ending more. And I'll get to that when I get to it, but goddamn, this movie was really fucking good, and it's really, it's like, I mean, I know I was not, like, I know I was in for something because I haven't seen this before, but I've heard so many great things about this movie. And the only thing I think I can give it a negative, and not really a real negative, but the only thing I can say that I don't think I like as much as Suspiria is the build-up. Even though it's totally good, it's totally fine. And there's a lot of moments that are fantastic in it, but I felt like I was more invested in Suspiria's build-up. But with the ending in this one, in Deep Red, I love the ending more, even though the ending in Suspiria was good. So it's kind of like I love both of these movies for two different reasons, but this one like I said, the build-up I just don't love as much as Suspiria, but the ending is fucking amazing. It's fantastic. I liked how it opens up with the children singing, and then it just shows like you hear somebody get stabbed, and then it shows like feet, and I'm guessing a child's feet, and seeing the movie, and this is gonna be a full spoiler review, but it's like a child's feet that see this knife and pick it up, and then it shows the credits, Deep Red, and that's a great way to open it with that creepy ass children singing. That tune plays throughout the whole movie, and it actually has there's some backstory to that, and it actually plays into the ending, and the ending goes full circle in a fantastic way. But the opening is so great, and then the score. Now, like I've said, this is only the second Dario Argento I've seen, and I know that Goblin didn't do every score for Argento, but Suspiria was that score is phenomenal, and listening to this one, this is just as incredible. This band, I know nothing about besides the fact that they made scores for Dario Argento, and I guess they're an Italian band, I'm assuming, because this is Italian horror films. Oh, I mean, I'm assuming, but I don't really know, to be honest. But I want to listen to more of this band. Like their scores for these two movies, for this one and Suspiria, are fucking incredible. Like, it's some of the most iconic music I've ever heard, and I've only heard him recently. Like I said, Suspiria I watched a couple months ago, and that theme of Suspiria stayed with me, and I've listened to that a lot, at least once a week. I listen to that all the time to where I keep remembering it because it's so fucking fantastic. And then this one, I'm gonna do the same thing. This score is incredible as well. It's a different type of music than Suspiria, which is great. It's a different type of interpretation of this music that works for a different type of horror movie because it's not the same type of horror movie as Suspiria. So the score is just amazing. And moving on with the movie, I liked how like I said, it starts out with that opening with the kid with the kid picking up the knife and somebody gets stabbed. And then the credits with the amazing score. And then we get this scene with this psychic named Helga. And I should have saw this coming, but honestly, the way that this Helga character, this psychic, was introduced, I thought that she was going to be the main character of this movie. And I thought that, and I should have guessed it because Suspiria did the same thing, where they had this one character pop up at the beginning, then dies, and dies a similar death. But it does the same thing like Suspiria, so I should have guessed that she wouldn't have lived through the movie, but this psychic character I thought would have lived because this psychic was so interesting. And I love the fact that she's dead, right at the beginning of the movie. She gets murdered, but her presence is kind of in the movie because you were wondering like why, like it starts out with her at this kind of session thing with all these people, and she's a psychic that can see or can imagine something going on in the room. Like she can feel some presence, like an evil presence, like something here, like somebody's committed murder, and she doesn't know who it is. And then after she leaves the seminar, it happens to where the murderer comes in and kills her. And I thought, like, it's a good thing, though. Like, I thought that she would have been the main character of the movie, but it's also a great thing that it diluted my expectations in a weird way where I really like this character. But then, nope, she's gone completely, and it worked really incredibly well. And her death scene, she's in her house, and like the killer comes in with a meat cleaver and freaking like starts stabbing her or hitting her in the back with the meat cleaver, and the gore in this and Suspiria, the only two Argento movies I've seen, have a different type of gore to them, and it feels like, I don't want to say it's over the top, but it feels kind of like it's in a fantasy kind of reality with the violence. But the violence is effective. Like I said, whenever she gets cleaved, hit with the meat cleaver, and then it has these two people watching outside, and then she gets thrown into the window and then like dies at the window. And like Suspiria, where the character who dies in that falls through and is hanging from a window, or I mean from glass, it's very similar, but like I said, I should have expected that she was going to die, but this character was made so interestingly, and it made it to where it seemed like she would live. But like I said, it was great that it diluted the expectations I've had of this in a good way. But yeah, she gets killed, and then this, the music in that moment is one of the things I'll argue against that I thought was kind of odd. The score is great, but like this movie has a lot of like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's kind of a funky type of score where it doesn't seem like it fits horror, like a horror movie in a way. Some of the scenes, like whenever Helga gets busted through the glass and is left there, and when the guy sees her, it seems really like cheesy in the moment. Like it takes me out of it with the score, and the score just, I don't know, like it really felt odd to have this type of funky type of music. But to be fair, that makes this movie memorable. Like it makes you remember that moment. I really remember that moment, even though I didn't love that score moment in that second after that happened. But it made it memorable, so I really, again, just give it props. That's just such a cool difference in a horror movie. And it's from 1975 too, so it's not like horror was what it is now. I mean, we have, of course, started with 70s and have fantastic horror movies from the 70s, but I like that this one just, it's very different whether you like it or not. And I do enjoy almost all of this movie. So like just little moments like that. But of course no movie's perfect, so I still love this movie besides a couple little instances like that. But it just kind of took me out of it. And the basic plot after this is where this musician and this reporter go on to find out why she died, like what's going on with her. Or I mean, what's going on with her getting murdered, like who murdered her. And I liked these characters a lot. The two main characters, Marcus and what is her name? Why am I blanking on it? I've got it written down. But the two main characters, I really thought that they were really, really fun characters. Oh, Gianna and Marcus. Now, I really liked their banter because they had interesting chemistry, because Gianna is this reporter who is a woman in 1975, and she has such a great banter with him. Like it really like Marcus is this character who, of course, it's 1975, so it's like he talks to her like she's nothing. Like the man's the best. Like the man's the better person here. Like is what he's trying to say in this time period, which of course I don't agree with, but I liked her reaction to that stuff. Like she's really snarky and she's got a funny attitude where he says like, "Oh, women of course are weaker," and then she'll say like, "Oh, Buster, what are you talking about? Like, let's arm wrestle right now." And then like she'll cheat and like it'll look like she'll cheat and he'll get pissed off like, "Hey, that's not fair." Like I liked how it showed like she was kind of proving a point where it's like the men are the dumber ones in a lot of ways. But I'm not trying to stereotype completely, but I liked their banter. I thought their banter was funny between stuff like that when they're first talking to each other. I thought that was really great humor, just because it was. Of course, there's always that stupid argument where we have like, oh, is it like a man is of course stronger than a woman, or a woman smarter than a man. It's like we always have this argument forever going on. But I thought that their banter was funny with jokes like that. I really liked that. And I just liked how she called him out. That was really funny. But it was just really hilarious, and her personality just, again, this actress really has a great personality to her. Like, she's genuinely funny. She's sweet, and she's just got a very nice sense of like friendliness to her. And she doesn't take any shit, even though she's perky. That's what I think is great about her. And then we get to the scene where Marcus has the killer in the house, and he's playing the piano, and then like he hears the footsteps, the door opens, and then Gianna calls him, and this is where it gets really creepy, because like it creeps me out whenever you don't see the killer, but you just hear like a voice. Like they do that in Black Christmas too, where like the killer would just be talking, like, and you don't really see him. But in this one, it's great because he's talking to Gianna on the phone, and the killer is literally on the opposite side of the door, and the killer's like, "I'm just gonna kill you. You're gonna die." Like, and it's a line like that that's very simple, but that voice is creepy. Whoever did that voice, that works really, really well. That whispering just creeps me out. And I really like that scene, and this movie has fantastic tension and build up to it. And then we get to the scene where this other woman goes into her house, like she's dropped off by like a bus. She goes into her house, and there's like a hanging doll, and hanging dolls are a big part of this movie in terms of the style and in terms of this character and how the end resolves this character. But dolls are important in this movie, and it's creepy because dolls creep the fuck out of me, like especially the ones in this one. And I used to be scared of dolls as a kid, and I kind of got over that, but then watching this, there's a moment where I actually was kind of like creeped out because this doll was so creepy looking, but I'll talk about that soon. But anyways, that woman goes into the house, finds a hanging doll, and of course I'm like, I know it's a horror movie, I know it's not like you gotta do this, but I'm like, don't go in the house, don't go in the house. And I like whenever it gives a response from me like that, like, don't go in there, please. Because she sees a hanging doll, she walks back out, the bus drives away, she goes back in, and then, like, she's just looking around, and then there's a great, scary shot of, like, you see her walking past the closet, and then there's a lot of clothes hanging, and then it zooms in past that, and you just see one eye, just blackest everywhere around this eye, just staring. That is really effective. And again, that reminds me of something out of Black Christmas where you just see like Billy's eye. That, like, this does a fantastic job with not really showing the killer until the end, of course, but that's a great shot of in the closet with the eye behind the clothes. That's really, really effective. And then the children's music starts to play again. And like I said, it keeps getting creepier and creepier every time it plays. And then, like, she has something. I forgot what weapon she has. But she has something, and, like, she impales one of her birds. And, like, I just thought, man, that sucks to have that bird get killed. But, not really, but in the movie. But then the killer gets her, and, like, I thought he was going to just drown her, and he keeps pushing her in this water, but it's boiling hot water, so he literally keeps pushing her in until she dies because of being boiled to death, like, on her face, which funny enough, I guess that's where John Carpenter or whoever did this got, or whoever did Halloween 2 or did that scene, got that from this movie where Karen dies in the hot tub in Halloween 2, which I thought was a funny thing. I was like, that's where it probably came from. Because there's a lot of horror movies that do that, where like they have one that did it and then they do it again in another horror movie. And this is more effective than Halloween 2, even though I love Halloween 2, but this scene of the woman in getting drowned almost in the bathtub, hot with hot water, is more effective than the one in Halloween 2. But I just thought that was funny. I watched that and thought right in my head, like, that was Halloween 2. That's where Rick Rosenthal or John Carpenter got it. But yeah, that just was really great. And then, so after he kills her, then Marcus finds out and then goes into this building. And I forgot what building it is, but he goes into this building to find, like, clues, and he eventually finds a little red mark on a wall, and he starts scraping off the plaster, and he finds, like, this picture of, like, this kid with a knife and, like, this other person besides them, like, bleeding all over, and just, like, in a drawing, painting. But I love the fact that he leaves, and then there's another picture right next to it, like you can kind of see, and then the plaster just falls right off, and it shows another image. And I thought that was a really... It's one of those moments in a movie where it's like, oh, this person could have just got this last hint, but then they left, and then there it is. It fell right in front of them, even though they left. I thought that was a great, like, little, like, thing to pop up. Like, oh no, they could have seen that, but nope. But I really did. I thought that was a cool scene. And then Gordonis, or however you pronounce his name, this is where I'm going to bring up that creepy fucking mechanical doll, because the killer goes to get this guy, and like he goes in and there's this, I don't know how it works, but I guess it's on strings, like in the movie, where like this door opens and this mechanical puppet comes in, and it looks kind of like Chucky, but it's actually scary and actually creepy looking. And then the guy like smashes the head in, but like then the killer comes in, but that is effective with that doll. Like that mechanical thing is the creepiest, one of the creepiest fucking dolls I've ever seen. And I don't get scared of dolls anymore because I'm an adult, but that creeped me out. Really, that really got me. I thought I was over the spirit dolls because I was whenever I stopped being a kid. But man, that scared me. That was a creepy looking doll. And then this guy gets one of the worst deaths, because he literally gets like hit all over on walls, and then he gets curb stomped like on different like platforms, and it sucks. It's horrible to see it happen like this. And then he just gets stabbed in the back, but like he suffered. Well, I guess I'm not gonna say he suffered the most, because the woman who was almost drowned in the bathtub, like she suffered too. She probably just took time to die from burning to death from hot water. But that guy's death is really like hard to watch. Like fucking getting curb stomped. Ah, God, this killer knows how to cause pain. But man, and then Marcus continues to search, and then he finds this dead body in this other location. Like he finds it through a wall, and then he passes out, and Gianna's there, and her reaction, before I knew what the end of this movie was, Gianna's reaction whenever he wakes up, and then the house is on fire that he was in, and the way she talks makes it seem like she's the killer. Like she talks in a very blank state that she didn't in the rest of the movie, where she's like, yes, I got you out and saved you just in time. And she says it in such a creepy way that it makes it imply that she is the killer. Even though I've seen the movie, I know she's not. I just wrote in my notes, like, is she the killer? Is she? But she's not. But yeah, her lines just made it seem so much like a red herring to think, oh, she probably is. Her line reads just really imply that. And then he goes up to this girl, Marcus. He goes up to that little girl that was introduced earlier in the movie and asks her where she got that picture at, because the picture is the one that was on the wall. And then she said at the school. So him and Gianna go to the school, and they think that it's going to be there, the clue. and they find the picture, but then this is where it gets great too, like really just effective with like little things. Like he walks into this classroom, there's a chalkboard where it's one of those chalkboards where like it's hanging, so like the board in between can be moving back and forth, and the chalkboard is moving back and forth, and there's a picture of somebody being hung on it. And just something like that is just so effective. But then, of course, he looks around and Gianna's there and she's stabbed. Which kind of made me think, is she the killer again? Even though she isn't. But, because it's like, well, did she just stab herself just to, like, make it look like she isn't? But no, she isn't. Which, that's fine that she isn't the killer, but they really made it seem like she might have been. But, yeah, that just... I like that. And then I liked whenever he realized who the killer was, and air quotes because he's not the real killer, but whenever he realized that Carlo, this character from the beginning, the drunk guy that he was talking to whenever the woman psychic was pushed into the window, that he thought that he was the killer. But then I love the fact that I didn't even think about that either. It didn't go through my brain that how could Carlo be the killer, because he was outside with him. So it couldn't have been the one upstairs in that house with the psychic. And I just thought to myself, oh, he's the killer. Wait, no, he's not. No, he's not. That's really cool. And Carlo like holds him at gunpoint, but then whenever he leaves, he gets killed by getting dragged by a vehicle, and he gets freaking like dragged down the road, hit on pavement, and it's hard to watch. And then this is where it's a quick and painful death, but it's quick. That vehicle stops that he's being drugged with, and like a car goes up, just runs over his head, just splatters. And like that's what I mean with the violence, where it's unrealistic in a way, but like it's still incredibly effective. It works really well. I really, really dig the violence in these two movies, in this and Suspiria. But yeah, it couldn't have been Carlo, and he starts to realize that too. And I just didn't even think about it. Like I said, that he wouldn't have been upstairs if he was drunk talking to him downstairs. So I really thought that was just a funny little thing I just did not think in my head. But then they bring back the mirror reflection thing, because earlier in the movie he finds the mirror reflection. Like he sees a woman in the mirror, and it actually, like, I didn't even think about it. Like it didn't even pop up, like in my head. I just thought that, oh, he just walked past a mirror, and like I don't know why. I looked real quick away and didn't see it, but it got me. I was like, wow, okay, I totally didn't think about that. I don't know, that's great. The great reveal of the mirror, and like showing how it reflects backwards in like the room, so it looks like it's something else is there. So whenever Marcus goes back, he realizes who the killer is, and this is where it comes full circle, and this is where it becomes fantastic, even though it was great before. Like I said, he found the reflection of the mirror, and earlier it was this woman with black hair, and then you realize that it was Carlo's mother. And the mother did it. And I guess, actually, I don't know why I said Carlos isn't the killer, but he is. He's one of them. But, like, Carlo and his mother, I love the fact that the mother, it all comes full circle, because she talks about her past to him and says, like, this is what happened. And it shows the beginning of the movie, but in a different angle, where Carlo and his mother and his father, it's Christmas Day, like, and Carlo is playing that creepy children's song, which makes it go full circle. And then it makes it to where the mom just walks in on the father with the son right there, with Carlo right there. She just stabs him, and he dies right there, and Carlo is traumatized. And then the knife falls on the ground, and then it shows a shot of the feet on the ground grabbing the knife, and then it's Carlo looking at the knife like in a disturbed way. And I just loved how that went full circle. That's incredible. it's just incredible because I would have thought, like, if I went, like, going into this, I would have never thought this is how it ends, this is who the killer is, this is what their whole reasoning behind everything is. The movie's just fantastic on that aspect. It's just really fantastic on building up this mystery, but then when it's resolved, it feels like it's not ham-fisted at all. It feels like it makes total sense, but you would have never guessed how this would end, like how this works with the whole story, the whole picture. I just love how it showed the opening again and really gave it a full circle thing. And then this is where it gets great, even though it's cheesy. It kind of does remind me of the end of Suspiria, where it does get a little cheesy too, but in a great way though. But where the mother is fighting Marcus, and they have a tiny little squabble, but then she has a necklace, and the necklace gets caught on this elevator because it's an old elevator, and there's, of course, it's kind of open where you can have slots that you can put your fingers in. That necklace gets caught in the chain, goes down, like, with the elevator, so she's stuck there. And, of course, it's silly because it wouldn't, no necklace would probably really ever do this with that force, but necklace just goes there, cuts her head clean off. And it was awesome. Just what a great way to have the villain die. That was incredible. Even though, like I said, it's not how that would really happen, but still, who cares? Who gives a crap? That was incredible. Just so great. Such a great fucking ending. And then, like Suspiria, they did the thing where it just holds on the last thing in the movie while the credits roll. And it's not like a paused image, it just shows the character doing something during the end. And in this case, Marcus is just looking down at the reflection of the blood of the mother during the whole credits. And what a great fucking way to end this movie. Like, this movie, I'm not gonna say I wasn't surprised because I thought Suspiria was amazing, but watching this, it just blew me away again, and how just incredible this had. An incredible build-up, incredible scary moments. Like, this is one of those, it's a 70s horror movie, so it's not going to be like, oh, every second it's horror. And I like these movies more than like movies that are just every couple minutes. It's like, oh, somebody gets killed, somebody gets scared. In this one, it takes its time. I just don't like the pacing as much as I did with Suspiria, but it's still a great pacing. Like I said, I love the ending of this more than the ending of Suspiria, even though the Suspiria ending is good. But I like the build-up to Suspiria more, but I love the ending to this more. So, and like I said, both great, fantastic horror movies. And I want to watch more Argento, because, God, I can't believe it took me this long to watch. But it's also because it's just, I've always watched more American horror, and I feel, and I really should not just keep it in that box. I should look for other horror, and I'm so glad I have. I just really I'm so excited to talk about more Argento. I'm going to watch probably Inferno next. I think Inferno was on Vudu for free with ads. That and Opera, and I think The Bird with the Crystal Plummet. So, just, man, this movie was so fucking good. I loved it so much, and I can't wait to talk more Argento with you guys.